Recording in progress. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Councilmember Compton.
Here.
Emmerling Baker. Here. Farrell. Here. Happy.
Here.
Keller.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Mayor Gill. Here. Okay. Additions or amendments to the agenda.
I have one item on your desks, is an OLCC application for Frame Brewing. They need to get it back to OLCC by the 18th, so before our next council meeting. So I'm requesting it's added to the consent agenda for adoption.
Added on 6F.
No, it'd be 3C.
Okay. Any others? No, Brian, you have one. Okay, adoption of consent agenda. With
Vote to approve.
vote, let's go to approve.
Move to approve the adopted consent agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion?
I have some adjustments to the minutes.
Oh, we're not doing minutes.
Oh,
we're
not
just,
yet?
voting on the amended
Okay.
consent agenda.
Well, this is just the amendment to the agenda.
Oh, sorry,
not the
okay.
consent, the
Yes,
whole
okay,
agenda.
great, the amendment, okay.
Okay. Vote. Councilmember Compton.
Aye.
Emmerling Baker.
Aye.
Farrell.
Aye.
Happy.
Aye.
Keller.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Mayor Fallon. Aye. All right, Frame has been added to 3C. Okay, now let's go into approval of minutes.
Move to approve the minutes from the March 25th, 2024 council meeting and ratification of bills in the amount of $69,082.79.
And the approval of the Green OLCC.
And the approval of the OLCC special event application by Frame.
Okay, there's a second.
I second.
All right, discussion?
Now I'll make some adjustments. I believe on page 2A, page 1, 2, nope, it was 2.
Page 2.
Yeah, 2A. CM Baker, so it's down under motion, CM Emmerling Baker said funding for the project needed to be secured for the project to be in progress, I think I said, instead of completed, is that correct? Doesn't have to be completed by October? I believe I said in progress, not completed, but
So you're wanting to change that in progress?
yeah.
Okay, any others?
Okay, page 4, under comments. Down at 8 comments, line. 3rd paragraph, 5th line. It says. LOC advocated for $65 million, not was awarded. The state wasn't where the state allocated funds, so I think the easiest change is LOC advocated for, not awarded,
Okay.
$65 million.
Any other?
No.
Okay. So, Councilmember has to, make a new.
Yeah. Well, I just want to clarify, the minutes are still, I guess. We're adjusting the minutes because it didn't accurately reflect what happened the last meeting, so, move to adopt the, consent agenda, including the approval of the minutes of March 25th, 2024 council meeting as amended. The ratification of bills in the amount of $69,082.79 and the special event delivery application for bringing one of their summer party.
All right. Vote. Councilmember Compton.
Aye.
Emerson Baker.
I,
Cheryl. Aye. Happy.
Aye.
Keller.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Mayor Bell. Aye. All right. Number 4, parents of interested citizens for share varieties of perspectives. Do you not have any? Other? I've got, okay.
Can act online.
Okay.
Anybody online have public comment outside of an agenda item?
Okay. All right. Hearing none. Number 5, public hearings. So,
So we have to officially open.
okay. So we're officially opening public hearing, and I need to read public hearing script. So the public hearing on proposed amendments and clarification of the text of Cascade Locks Community Development Code is called to order. The public hearing this evening will be conducted as follows. Staff will present the staff report. Questions, if any, by city council or staff. Receive any written testimony. We will then open up the public hearing for testimony, and time will be limited to 5 minutes per person. Any interested person may present testimony. We will then close the public meeting. No other comments will be heard from the public. Final comments by staff, questions of staff, if any, by the city council, and discussion by the city council. If you wish to speak, please fill out one of the requests to speak forms and submit it to Deputy Recorder prior to the time of the public hearing is open for testimony. The mayor will recognize people who wish to speak. Any comments may be addressed through mayor. When you come forward, please state your name and place of residence for the record, as this hearing will be recorded. Please speak clearly and precisely. In reaching a decision on this item, the city council may be required to consider whether the matter meets relevant approval criteria and any other applicable law. If applicable, those criteria are identified in the staff report, and testimony and evidence must address these criteria or other criteria you believe to apply to the decision. Councilmember Keller.
I was wondering if I need to abstain from participating in this discussion as my spouse is on the planning commission.
Council.
it is my understanding, I've spoken to a couple of folks about ethics violations, and if it is my understanding, if you have no vested interest in the decision on this, that it would not preclude you from being involved in the discussion.
Any other thoughts from council on that?
Not the discussion, but the voting?
I've been told that a person could vote, they have no vested interest, and it was up to that person to make the decision for optics.
And I would like to bring up one other thing, is that you testified at the planning commission. And by what's said, written in here, you identified yourself as a council member.
Did you read further, Councilman Miller, where
Yeah.
I made it clear that I was speaking for myself and not. the
But you
city
did
council?
that after,
Um,
much after. So you identified yourself first as a council member.
I was called to speak as a council member, and I said for them not to. And I made it clear that yes, I was, and I wasn't hiding anything. And this question came before the attorney, when we had that day of questions for the attorney. He said, yes, city councilors can go to meetings, they are citizens, and they need to be clear they're not speaking on behalf of the council, and I made that clear. It wasn't recorded in the minutes until later. I asked the chair to stop calling me Councilman Emmerling Baker. I was speaking for myself.
I did see that reflected in the minutes. Councilman Keller.
Can I participate or not?
I don't, you don't have a personal interest in this and.
So it's your call.
Yeah, they don't.
No, I don't care what, let's hear what Ms. Woosley has to say.
Excuse me, Mayor and Council.
Yes.
I believe that we were told that this is a legislative hearing and that, Councilor Keller could. And as he stated, his wife is on the planning commission, he stated that. And I believe that we were told nothing would preclude you from participating and or voting.
All right, so, thank you.
Thank you.
I think that answers that. So. Any other comments on that? All right, so staff will present the staff report.
All right, subject, community development code amendments, synopsis, the planning commission at their January 11th meeting met to discuss the code amendment. Allowing a longer time frame for temporary vendor carts to operate in the city of Cascade Locks, realizing that further review would take place during the full code review process that will be starting later this year. The planning commission held a public hearing on March 14th to consider the testimony regarding CEC amendments to Article 1 definitions, which would add a definition to the CEC to define temporary retail and service use, in Article 5, amending the language in 8-6.148.020, parentheses H, of applicability of provisions. The planning commission received 3 written submittals for testimony and had one member of the audience that testified. Staff has prepared ordinance number 458, following the planning commission's recommendation after receiving testimony at the public hearing held on March 14th, 2024. Attachments, planning commission public hearing documents, planning commission March 14th, 2024, draft meeting minutes with exhibits.
Okay, so now we move to questions, if any, by city council or staff. Does the council have any questions for staff? Councilmember Baker?
So it's mine, are we talking about the motion already?
Questions for
No,
staff?
we're in step number 2.
Any
Okay,
questions about the report I just read?
no, okay, that's fine.
Okay. Number 3, receive any written testimony.
To my record, we did not receive any.
Okay. Any new from the last one, the planning meeting.
Correct.
Okay. Then we open up for public hearing for testimony. And it looks like Ms. Pruitt.
My name is Tiffany Pruitt, I'm a resident of Cascade Locks. I see that the council can move on things pretty quickly when they want to. First, I do have concerns about, Emerling Baker attending the, planning commission meeting to influence the committee on a legislative process that she knew that would come before the council to be voted on. But unfortunately, like most things this council does, it is done against the norms that will be acceptable. I do have questions and concerns. Will it be up to the citizens to make sure that the vendors are obeying the rules, of which there really aren't any except this 360-day rule? I'm not really sure because the whole code for this particular item was only the changes were included in the council pack, but will it be the citizens turning it into the to these community liaison, AKA the ordinance enforcement officer, and how will it be enforced? 2, nowhere does it state that these temporary facilities are not to be lived in. Many of us remember the stinky fish bus that came to town many years ago. It was an eyesore in the middle of town, and it was there for quite a while. Number 3, what about the size restrictions? Some tents and trucks and trailers can be pretty big. Also, number 4, what about hours of operations? If they use a generator, will the citizen have to endure listening to it run at all hours of the night and day, and the smells that go with it? As this council has taught us time and time again, if it isn't written specifically in black and white, the limits are up to the person's interpretation. I'm not against food courts. What I am against is a rush to get this done for 1 or 2 current vendors. I'm also against not doing it right and not making the ordinance as precise as possible to protect the citizens of Cascade Locks from a potential unnecessary eyesore that will be hard to get rid of because better definitions weren't codified to prevent it from happening in the first place. Thank you for your time.
And see, we do not have any other, interested. And so then number 5, will then close the public hearing. No other comments will be heard from the public. 6, final comments from staff.
As it's stated in the document, this is essentially a kind of a Band-Aid, to accommodate more, or just make it easier, more business friendly for, short-term vendors while we go through the process of updating the entire code, which really is about a 1.5 to 2-year process to make sure we do it right. The current timeline really did not fit in with mainly the tourism season of Cascade Locks, which really extends from now through October, depending on the weather. And then right now, it's limited to 4 months.
Okay. Is that your final comments?
Unless we're sitting recording, we're just leaving now. Okay, yeah, that's it.
No? All right. So questions of staff, if any, by the city council. Come on, Victor.
So it is my understanding that there was a paid planner involved in this process
Yes,
and the attorney reviewed?
Yes.
Yes, so the legalities are covered by those. And point of personal privilege, I want to point out that it is not the norm for city councilors to not to go to committees. In fact, as I pointed out previously, the mayor of Seaside, I sat next to him at a conference. He almost requires city councilors to be on at least 2 committees. I think he has 17 committees, Seaside. The more I ask around, almost every city I've spoken with, the councilors are on a committee because they want their councilors to be involved. And the attorney, we asked that question and he spoke, and the answers were shared in a city council meeting, that yes, as a person living in Cascade Locks on a city council can attend city meetings and share their opinion. So I want to make that point of personal privilege since it came up. Yes, Jordan.
I'd like to note that John Morgan from the Chinook Institute, who helped write this, is on Zoom for any questions as well.
Oh, great, thank you. Councilmember Keller, where'd your hand up?
Can we move forward, please, with Ms. Baker attending the meeting? Yes, I understand. We're frustrated by it. Let's move forward.
Councilmember Miller?
Yeah. At, near the bottom of the staff report on page 1, number 1, 1 or 2 trailers are located to a single site and community. Today, they can operate for 4 months, and then you stated they don't have to do the site plan and stuff. What happens if you have 2 of them there and then the 3rd one moves in the next year? Then you have to do a site plan? It's not in here. It's left out. We're using a Band-Aid on something that I'm afraid it's gonna get tore off and it's gonna bleed more before 2 years ago. You know, I have no problem in granting the current cart, which we have just one operating.
Yes,
I have no problem in granting them an exemption for the 2 years, and we work on this, get it done right, correctly. But as far as to open it up with this Band-Aid, no.
Would you like to hear from Mr. Morgan? Let's do that. Mr. Morgan, can you comment on kind of
Yes.
the thought process?
I'd be happy to,
That'd be
Thank you.
great. Thank you.
This as Jordan said, is intended to be some temporary regulation. There is no regulation today. And that's an important thing to remember, in that as the planning commission worked through this, and as your staff support worked through it, we were trying to find a reasonable framework to regulate these businesses that just didn't exist in the existing code. In the existing code, technically, any single cart showing up would have to go through a complete site design review process, which means not only looking at the site plan, but all the landscaping, the access, everything. Very expensive work, and it seemed to be quite a bit overkill for what could be a temporary trailer that was on a property. And that's really when the council referred this to the planning commission to come up with some response to this. That's where the planning commission was coming through. I mean, looking on this, your commission did discuss it at length at 2 different meetings, trying to come to a reasonable compromise. This does establish regulation. It does say that, 1 or 2 can locate on a property on a temporary basis, but the moment that you get a third, it becomes what we would call in the industry a food pod, which would require the full site design review process and a conditional use permit. As long as it's 2 on a property, it doesn't require that. The commission, I think, wisely decided to put a time limit on it of, they picked 360 days, because they didn't want these businesses to be established as non-conforming uses, meaning if the regulations changed, then pre-existing businesses were not subject to any change regulation. And by requiring them to have to apply for a permit a second time after 360 days means that as new regulations come on, most especially the detailed regulations, which are going to address those issues that Ms. Pruitt brought up, when those detailed regulations are in place, it's going to require all existing vendors to come into compliance with them. I think this is quite a reasonable interim solution that's laid out here. And I would suggest it's better to have something in place than nothing while you're waiting a year or 2 to get your new code in place. I'd be happy to answer any questions if there may be any.
Any questions from council, for Mr. Morgan? Councilmember Farrell?
So if there's 2 there and a third one wants to join, we are allowed just to say, sorry, you can't. Is that what we do?
No, what would happen at that point is that property owner, in conjunction, obviously with those vendors, would have to go through an entire site design review and conditional use process. So we don't say no, we say now you have to jump through the hoops where we are going to take a close look at the impacts and the aesthetics of a more significant food pod having 3 or more food vendors within it.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other, Councilmember Happy?
I just want to fully understand, because we're talking a couple different timeframes. What's the length of time that a food vendor can be in one location, and it's once every 360 days they have to apply for a new license? Is that right?
Yeah, that's the way this ordinance is written, is that essentially their land use commitment, meaning that which they have a right to, ends at the end of 360 days, and they'd apply for a new permit. But in applying for a new permit, or to actually open up business again after 360 days, they are subject to the any new regulations that have been adopted in that interim period.
Thank you.
Can I answer your question? Okay. Councilmember Miller?
Yeah, I have one other thing here, and definitions of specific terms. It's on page 2, 8-6.08.020. It's temporary retail and service use. A retail or service use operating from a single temporary structure, including but not limited to a truck, trailer, or tent. Well, if it's not limited to a truck, trailer, and tent, it's got to be a fixed building.
No, it says it's those are examples of what a temporary structure is. There's one of the things I found as I started working on this is there was no definition whatsoever of what a temporary use is in the code, so wrote this language. And what it's saying is that, here, let me find the language here. Retail or service use operating from a single temporary structure, including but not limited to a truck, trailer, or tent. This is saying that it gives as examples of what is a temporary use as a truck, a trailer, or a tent, but it says not limited to. I mean, there may also be a temporary wooden structure that might be constructed, kind of thing. So I think, you know, this is really straightforward language in terms of defining what we're talking about.
Now, I think under this way it's stated, a permanent structure could be included, because it's not limited to a truck, a trailer, or a tent.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be, we would interpret that to not be temporary. But, you know, as we as staff and ultimately if council was called to do it, to interpret the code, we'd interpret that as not being a temporary use.
Okay, any other comments? Councilmember Baker.
Thank you, and I do see in that 8-6.08.020, it says from a single temporary structure, so it has to be a temporary structure. I just wanted to point out that several times a month I meet with city managers of the main streets for Oregon Main Street, and the discussion of how to increase economic development in a downtown where there is a lot of derelict buildings or open spaces came up. And it was recommended to do the quickest way to increase economic development in that town to get tourists here or other folks up and down the main street is to add some of these temporary structures. And then as you get to know the landowners and see what other development is happening. So I see this as a move forward. And I also appreciate that you put in the 360 days so that the next application for use there would include current new rules. And I do want to point out that we do have many derelict and unpleasant and not open permanent structures on Main Street. And as we have a new code enforcement and we're working on some new codes for maybe what they call the dark store codes or things that I believe we're not gonna let a derelict food cart stand as we're working toward that improving our Main Street.
I had a really long, nice long conversation with Mr. Sager, and because I wanted to understand what the 360 days, and he explained with his experience being a city manager in Gresham, and he was explaining food carts and the legalities and how intricate the rules need to be. The planning commission felt like this was a good compromise, 360 days. This is gonna allow us to have some time for all the new code revisions. So at that time, because Ms. Pruitt, you know, they brought up some good points, but that's gonna be time consuming and quite a bit. So we're not saying those aren't valuable, they are, but this is gonna get things through for a couple of vendors until we can get all the codes rewritten in detail to address all the different challenges. Today, we're not addressing all the interstate of it. So, any other comments, questions about Councilmember Happy?
And I just wanted to say, I don't believe that the council is looking to make these adjustments, you know, encouraging things, but look at making these adjustments for one food vendor.
Right.
I really think that that's been brought up, but, you know, suggested that maybe we're just doing this to accommodate one food vendor. I think our hope is that we actually are creating an environment that's gonna encourage other people to come to Cascade Locks as well. And as I pointed out in our existing code, having a time limit of 4 months really makes it so that they're gonna miss out on 2 months of good revenue. And I like the way that you know, having them reapply every year does make it so that we can continually make sure that our temporary food vendors are upholding the CDCs, and if somebody's not a good actor, that they could have their permit not renewed. And so it gives us some, I guess, a path forward to hold people accountable as well.
Any other discussion? Okay. Sounds like everybody said the pace. All right. Will we close the hearing?
Articles, we're
Thank you.
done with that agenda.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's go on to action item, adopt ordinance 458.
All right, ordinance 458. So this is the ordinance that needs to pass to officially adopt, the changes to the CDC. Ordinance 458, amending the community development code is adopted by ordinance 350 by adding a section to define specific terms and amending the time limit for temporary vendors. The planning commission proposes the amendments to the CDC with the amendments as shown in exhibit A to ordinance number 458. City council options: adopt ordinance number 458, make additional amendments, or take no action at this time. Recommendation: city council approves ordinance 458. Planning review and opinion: the planning commission recommended amending the CDC with the amendments attached to ordinance number 458. The planning commission held a meeting on January 11th, 2024, and a public hearing held on March 14th, 2024 on the issue. The planning commission views these amendments as temporary until the full code review and revision. Background information: the planning commission has voted and approved the amendments to the CDC and is now brought to the city council for review and adoption.
Okay. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 458?
I motion to adopt ordinance 458.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing there's no discussion, go to roll call. Oh,
I would like to note that in methods of adopting an ordinance for the city, an ordinance shall be fully and distinctly read in an open council meeting on 2 different meetings before being adopted by council, and an ordinance may be adopted at a single meeting by unanimous vote of the entire council if 2 readings by title only or in full shall occur, and any section of a proposed ordinance containing substantive changes shall be read in full prior to consideration. A reading of an ordinance may be by title only if no member of council present at the meeting requests that the ordinance be read in full, and at least 1 week before the reading, a copy of the ordinance is provided to each member of the council. Copies of the ordinance are available for public inspection in the office of the city recorder, and notice of the availability and the title pages of the ordinance is posted at City Hall. All 3 of those last were met. They were posted. You all should have received an email with the ordinance over a week ago. So does council want the ordinance read in full or title only?
Title.
Okay, so I'll read it twice in case we do end up having a unanimous vote, and it will be passed tonight. Ordinance number 458, an ordinance amending the Community Development Code, CDC, as adopted by ordinance number 350 by amending Article 1 definitions, Article 5 development review. Again, ordinance number 458, an ordinance amending the Community Development Code, CDC, as adopted by ordinance number 350 by amending Article 1 definitions, Article 5 development review. And let me find the major substantive changes within the ordinance are chapter 8-6.148.040H. A temporary retail and service use in a commercial zoning district shall be permitted without site plan review or conditional use approval, provided it does not operate for more than 360 days. This provision only applies to a single or 2 such use clustered together. A cluster of 3 or more temporary retail and service uses is subject to the provisions of this chapter.
Okay.
Is that 360 or 365?
360, did I say 365?
No, you said 360. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay. It's been seconded. We
Oh,
have-
I will also, sorry, I also note, in the definitions, retail and service, temporary retail and service activity, a retail or service use operating from a single temporary structure, including but not limited to a truck, trailer, or tent.
So, roll call vote.
Councilmember Compton,
Aye.
Emmeline Baker,
I,
Farrell,
Aye.
Happy,
Right.
Keller,
Abstain.
Miller,
Oh,
Mayor Fallon.
Aye. So now that it's not unanimous,
It needs to be read at the next council meeting.
we'll read it at the next council meeting and then it'll go to vote.
Yep.
Okay,
And then after it is approved, then there's a 30-day waiting period for it to go into effect, so it will not go in effect if it's approved at the next council meeting until May 22nd.
okay. All right, thank you. Okay. Approve a resolution 1501, 2024-25 council goals.
All right, council held a work session on March 10th, 2024 to discuss the citywide goals for the 24-25 fiscal year. Working with Administrator Bennett, council used the overall goals and recommended action items for the recently adopted city strategic plan to create the goals and objectives for the 24-25 fiscal year. After the work session with City Administrator Bennett, after the work session, City Administrator Bennett reviewed the goals with city staff and develop manageable timelines. Before the council tonight is resolution 1501, adopting the goals. Council options: approve the resolution, not approve the resolution.
Is there a motion to approve?
I motion to approve resolution 1501 adopting Cascade Locks goals for fiscal year 2024 through 2025.
I second.
Okay, discussion? Hearing there's no discussion, go to roll call vote.
Councilmember Compton,
Aye.
Emmeline Baker,
I,
Farrell,
Aye.
Happy.
Aye.
Keller,
Aye.
Miller,
no,
Mayor Fallon.
Aye. Resolution 1501 passes. Okay. 6C, appointment to MCEDD board.
The city of Cascade Locks and the city of Hood River have rotating representation on the Mid-Columbia Economic Development District Board, representing the interests of the cities of Hood River County. Cascade Locks currently holds the seat through August of 2025. Councilor Miller was appointed by city council to serve on the board for current term. Councilor Miller has resigned from the board due to personal reasons. The council now needs to appoint a new board member. The council has three options: appoint another councilor, appoint city administrator Bennett, or pass the term over. I wrote that wrong, should be city of Hood River, Cascade Locks.
So options are appoint a counselor, or appoint Jordan, or turn the term over to the city of Hood River.
In which they meet quarterly, correct?
yeah,
Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure on that.
and usually one's in person, the other, so they rotate it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you guys know the personal reasons, this sciatic is killing me.
Right.
It's just not, I can't do it all as I'd like to.
Is there any interest from any council member to be on the board? Or able to? If not, how do you feel about Jordan Bennett?
I'm willing, if, are we supposed to discuss this now, or do we have to make a motion?
Well,
This isn't an action item.
okay,
It is.
it is an action item. Mhm.
But I guess before we can make a motion, we have to find out if anybody's interested. Are you saying you'd be interested? Should we can maybe make a
I-
motion?
I'd like to open it, if somebody else was, I would defer that as well. So could I make a motion that that the city of Cascade Locks continues to have somebody on the
No,
head?
are you interested or?
I am if nobody else is, because I think it's important we have somebody there.
I motion to appoint CM Emmeline Baker, to the Mid-Columbia Economic Development Board to represent the cities of Hood River County.
Is there a second
Second.
discussion?
Just a fast question. If we were to turn the term over to the city of Hood River, does that, the next time it's up, will be included in that, or are we just like, okay, Cascade Locks is never gonna be there?
I did not get an answer on that. Whether it would, so in August of 25, it would go back to us, or Hood River would get their originally scheduled time, I did not get an answer.
Thank you.
I think it's best to keep your foot in the door.
Yeah.
Person there from Cascade Locks. All right, there's been a motion since second. Is there any other comments?
My question is to, City Administrator Bennett, is it important that you are there? Is it something you want to do? Cause
I'm good either way. I mean, if council wants me there, I will be there.
Cause we know you carry a lot on your shoulders, so I'm happy to do it.
There is the Hood River Economic Development Group, which is the two ports, the two cities in the county, and we'll get other guests. We meet every 2 months, and essentially it's kind of like a mini economic development board for the county. So we're up to date on everything, just
Okay.
not.
So then I'm happy
Yeah.
to go ahead. Okay.
Any other discussion?
I want to say I'm really glad that we have a counselor stepping up to take responsibilities. I feel like it's well on our city administrator. And I think that, Emily Baker is a great option, especially with her interest in downtown revitalization and Main Street programs.
Okay. All right, any other comments? All right, go to a vote.
Councilmember Compton,
Aye.
Emily Baker,
I,
Farrell,
Aye.
Happy,
Hi.
Keller,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Mayor Fallon.
Hi. Welcome to the MCEDD board. Thank you for stepping up. Appreciate
and,
it.
Butch, will you let me know what I'm to do next, or is that?
Next meeting is June.
I'll
You
notify
guys can-
McCann if they're appointed, and I'll reach out
Thank
to
you.
And I've got the notebook for it, so I'll bring it in.
Butch will help you with that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're on item D, appointment to Cascade Locks Museum Board.
All right, Council Miller is stepping down from his museum board position for personal reasons. The council needs to appoint a new representative. There is no term limit. C.A. Bennett is an ex officio board member, should be member, not meeting, who fills in when the appointed councilor cannot attend. It is in the museum's bylaws that a council member, and actually I'll have it here. The mayor of Cascade Locks and the president of the Port of Cascade Locks shall be members of the board of the Friends, the museum board. They may appoint a designee to represent them, which has all traditionally been another counselor or commissioner. It doesn't actually specify it in their bylaws. The city administrator of the Cascade Locks and general manager of the port shall be ex officio members of the board. So this one has to be a council member.
Okay,
How often does this board meet?
They meet monthly and it's usually early in the morning, like 9 and 10.
Yeah, right now they've been meeting, 9 AM on Fridays?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the pain medication I take, I can't get up that early.
And is it Zoom?
Huh? No,
no.
but here.
I could do that one.
Jan- Oh, Jan says.
Thank you.
I don't.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, so-
That works.
All right, we do have, Janice. Oh, she's on Zoom.
Yes, I am on Zoom. Hi.
You're
Yeah,
on.
hello, I'm Janice Crane and I am the executive director of the museum, and I wanted tonight to come and let you all know, I wanted to thank Counselor Miller for his years of serving on the board first and foremost. It's been really great to have him and we're sorry to lose him. And I also wanted to be available if any of you had questions about serving on the museum board prior to volunteering.
I motion to appoint Commissioner Crompton to the Cascade Locks Historical Museum Board.
I second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing no discussion, let's go to a vote.
Councilmember Compton,
Aye.
Emily Baker,
I,
Farrell,
Aye.
Happy,
Aye.
Keller,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Mayor Fallon.
Aye. Councilmember Compton, thank you. Welcome aboard.
And
Okay.
Director Crane will reach out to you to get you on board.
Okay, we're on to E, approve amendment 18, wastewater treatment plant operations.
All right, the city contract with Jacobs Engineering to operate the city's wastewater treatment plant. The agreement covers costs, covers staff. Agreement covers staff to operate, hauling of solid waste and minor repairs. I think anything over 2,000 is considered, or under 2,000 is a minor repair. I have to double check that number, but it is minor repairs. Every year, Jacobs sends over an amendment to update the agreement, typically a fee increase. Jacobs is requesting to up the cost by 4%. The 21-22 amendment was just under 120,000. The 22-23 amendment was 134,000. The 23-24 amendment was almost 55,000. This year's amendment is $161,315. As you can see, the fee has increased by $41,696, 35%, since 2021. Although this does seem high, the cost to recruit, hire, and retain an in-house person would cost much more, for the city. Jacob provides services to most of the Columbia Gorge region. They have decided to cut services with the city of Mosher. This has sparked a conversation with Nate Stice, the Regional Solutions Coordinator for the Governor's Office, about Gorge communities banding together to hire staff to oversee all facilities, but no concrete discussion or plans have developed. Unfortunately, I'm not quite sure what the options are if we don't approve the agreement. So not the only option, but I would recommend approving the Amendment 18 to renew the agreement with Jacobs Engineering.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve Amendment 18?
I move to approve amendment 18 to wastewater treatment plant operations. I motion to approve amendment 18 to the city's agreement with Jacobs to operate our wastewater treatment facility.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
Discussion? Raise your hand if you have comments. Councilman Compton?
Is there any way we can put out, like, keep feelers or keep track of what the city of Moser and they're doing? Because if they're gonna band together, I wouldn't see why we couldn't do that. I mean, going up 35% in that short a time is not great for long term. But at the same time, if they're our only option, I don't think we should not do it this time, but we should be looking at the horizon to see if we can have options lined up for the next time this comes around.
Councilman Bradley?
I just wanted to comment that it was 12% increase from 22-23 compared to 21-22, and 14% increase from 23-24 over 22-23, and then a 4% increase is what they're proposing this year. I think that COVID probably played a part in some of this, rising inflation. We saw that in our own operating expenses. At the same time, I don't know, since I've been on council, how many times we've had fines for illegal discharge into the Columbia, due to failure of equipment and those fines have been substantial. I mean, not insignificant, I guess is a better way of putting it. So I just wanted to say that on the record that it's unfortunate that we can't pass those fees along to the person that's operating the plant, those fines, as opposed to the city having to pay the fines once somebody else is operating it and making mistakes.
Yeah, I think when the fine we had that we paid, we discussed this, that if it was neglect or willful mismanagement on their end, yes, but if it was just a failure of the system, then it's on us. Which is what the one we did pay was.
I think there was one before that too. Maybe.
Well, yeah, so the one we paid occurred before I even got here. I mean, it was from like 2 years, 3 years ago.
Okay,
And we've had other violations since then that we had not been fined on.
that's what I
Which,
want.
at this point, they said, hey, we might fine you, but they haven't given an answer yet.
So just to clarify, if it's willful negligence and, gross neglect
Yes.
on their part, then they're.
Yeah, and that's in the contract.
That's in the contract, but if it's failure of some sort of infrastructure, but they're operating as they should, then we pay it.
Correct.
Thanks.
Any other comments? Discussion? Councilmember Farrell?
So we don't know what Moser's gonna be doing.
Nope, I think they're trying to figure it out.
They don't know what they're doing.
Is this something that the Friends of the Gorge or something could weigh in on and help us with this? It just seems, I know everything's gone up in increases, but I can't help but think because they're the only ones out there doing it, that, there might be a little bit of taking advantage happening with their business. I don't know, I'm just saying that competition is good, and if there's no competition,
And they know their position. I mean, like I said, they do most of the gorge. There's really nobody else out here to hire somebody with the level of certifications we need. We're looking at $100,000 a year just in salary, plus benefits. And to be honest, we don't need a full-time person here. We need maybe quarter time. Just somebody, yeah, and the removal, plus, and the removal, which is getting more and more expensive. Like I said, yes, it's a lot of money, but it's probably what we'd be paying if everything was in-house. We actually probably paying more.
so this would be fixed until June 2025.
Correct. So we'll probably get another one in April of next year.
And with COVID, I think just straight across the board, I don't care what kind of business you have, the increase is, I mean, substantial. Look at lumber. I mean, lumber alone, everything, fuel, transporting, removal of all the solids, all of that's gone up. That was a topic at the Duper meeting as well. So all the cities are kind of in the same boat. We all need somebody who can operate a plant and be skilled at it. But to hire anybody is astronomical. So.
Jordan, I have a question. Do they, regarding the failure of some of our systems, do they do an evaluation and assessment and give us updates on this
Yes,
thing?
yeah, what the
Okay.
cost was, yes.
Yeah, and also like, oh, this is getting near its end of life, or, okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Councilmember Thompson,
Aye.
Emily Baker,
I,
Farrell,
I,
Happy,
Right.
Keller,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Mayor Fallon.
Aye. Amendment 18 passes. Okay, reports, committee reports.
No committee reports.
Okay. Discussion on transportation plan and bike lanes.
Okay. The city of Cascade Locks has become a tourist destination with the addition of the recently updated and highly promoted historic Columbia River Trail bike path. The city will probably see an influx of cyclists along Wanapa Street, Forest Lane, and Frontage Road. Right now, there are no designated bike lanes within the city. I actually want to correct that. There are designated bike lanes on the city-owned road of Forest Lane from Wanapa to Robert Jackson. Once it gets to the county-controlled line, there are no bike lanes. So the city does have bike lanes. People aren't supposed to park there, but they do, and they're not enforced right now. But the city does have bike lanes. Typically, a transportation system plan that is reviewed and approved by the state is used to plan and develop all transportation projects, including automotive, bicycle, foot, and mass transit within the jurisdiction. The city last updated its TSP in 2001 and does not match the city's past growth and current needs. The Oregon Department of Transportation has a transportation management grant program that funds and assists cities in developing or updating their TSP. I have submitted a pre-application packet. The full application opens May 6th, closes July 31st, with awards in September. Given the age of our current plan and the growth of the city, the staff at the TGM office feel we have a good chance of receiving the grant. If awarded, the TGM office will oversee the project with a final TSP in place around summer of 2026. It is a very slow, long process. It does time up well, that about the time we wrap up our downtown development plan, we can roll right into this TSP development. We all know transportation system in Cascade Locks needs updated. As staff, I am leery to go far into a project without having the plan updated in coordination with the county. I have reached out to the county regarding their position on Forest Lane and Frontage Road. As of submitting this report, I have not heard back from them. I still haven't heard back from them. City staff have not looked at the logistics of possibility of putting in a bike lane path, but will research if directed. And then Mr. Dodd, who initiated this conversation via email, put in a presentation for your review. And I believe Mr. Dodd is here. So if you have any questions.
Council have any questions? Comments? Councilmember Keller?
So what I hear you say, Mr. City Administrator Bennett, is that we apply for this grant, let's go through the planning and kind of doing a holistic goal setting for transportation and include this idea into that,
Yes,
so that there's a future plan.
correct. Like I said, it talks about roadways, road development, which roads need to be replaced when, where do we want to put bus stops, where do we want to put bike lanes, where should we put sidewalks? It's all of it into one plan. And without that plan, we're not gonna get any money to actually do the projects, because it's millions of dollars. We have to have a plan in place before people will give us money.
Question for you on the existing bike lane we have, when you said it's people park in it.
Yes.
Is there any way we can paint it or the bike lanes that we do own?
They're actually well painted and maintained, they're on a paved road.
Right.
It's just never been the city's priority to enforce not parking.
So, it doesn't go down very far, the bike lane.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say bike lane though, does it?
It's got the little symbols for bike path and everything, yes. Yeah, I went and double checked myself, like, oh, it is there.
Thank you.
So thank you on that note, and I appreciate Mr. Dodd for sharing the presentation. Sounds like we can't just do it, we gotta wait till we get a plan, so that's a great start. And on the bike lane, could we make a public announcement first that says please do not park in the bike lane on Forest Lane from here to there before we begin to do code enforcement?
Yep.
Maybe on all the ways that we do that notice. And great, so I guess as excited as we are, it takes time. So appreciate this.
And like I said, the parts that don't have bike path are county roads, so there's not much we can do anyways unless we go into some kind of agreement with the county. And I know there's more of a long-term discussion on the city actually taking over Forest Lane, the rest of the Forest Lane, but that's more of a long-term discussion. Because as staff, we've talked about it, we want them to actually build up the road to city standards before we would take it over, including that bridge replacement.
And what department in Hood River, is it the Department of Transportation, is it the?
I don't know if they have a separate roads department. Separate, I think if it's, some counties, it's all under public works, some of them have like a separate road department, road master. But I'm not sure what cover it is.
What other roads do they own in our town?
I don't know, to be honest, I just know those main two, frontage and the east end of, Forest Lane. I'm sure there's more, I don't know them right now.
Huh. Okay.
Are the streets off of Forest Lane city roads?
Yes,
So just Forest Lane
yeah.
or part of Forest Lane?
Portion.
Yeah, and it's also part of the historic Highway 30, so we'd also have to get the state involved as well.
Yes, was most of our towns.
Yes, yep. So we have an odd town.
This is a good
So
place.
We're applying, and then we should know by the awards in September.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I will have a meeting with the folks from the TGM office. They essentially helped me put the application together. And then go to separate group to review it, but they'll help me put it together.
Frontage Road also part of historic Highway 30?
Yes, I think it is once you get out of town, but I'm not 100% sure.
The highway, the historic Highway 30, because it's,
The one Herman Creek Road goes up past Wyatt, that's,
yeah,
that's state historic highway there.
and Wanapa and Forest Lane.
Yeah.
Okay, just mental note.
Yeah.
And is it Friends of the Columbia Gorge and or other agencies that are working on the continuation of the bike path, like through the tunnel?
That's the state.
The state,
That's, Department of Transportation is spending millions of dollars on it.
Right. Okay.
I love bikes, but that's a lot of money. That's my personal opinion.
I think, Mr. Dodd, you bring up a lot of good points. I appreciate you putting this together, with the population growing, new homes. And I think, council, we would all agree that we would like to see safe bike travel. That I'm glad that it's a grant, hopefully we'll get awarded that. It sounds like it's pretty, if they're helping you to apply it.
Yeah,
That's you're telling me we have a chance.
yeah, and Administrator Zimmerman, applied for it his last year, would have been, I guess, the 2022, I think, or 21, and the city was not awarded it. I think for whatever reason, there were multiple requests that year from our region. It sounds like there should be very few this year.
Mr. Dodd, have you seen people parking in the bike lanes as a big problem, or is it more than 5 cars that you ever see parked in the bike lane on Forest Lane?
I'm not one to complain much, but yes, there's several cars that park regularly there on the sidewalk, in the bike lane. There for a while, there was one homeowner that had one of the big metal dumpsters, the ones that the truck has to pick up, that was sitting there for quite a while. Things like that, but I'm not necessarily trying to complain about that, but yes, that would be an issue for safe travel. But I just want to say thank you for taking this issue seriously and trying to pursue funding, because obviously that's the big thing. There's a lot of partners out there who potentially tap on the shoulder to help fund it, because it does, like we say, we're kind of a patchwork of different roads. I think that'd be awesome. A short-term fix on something that would be worth pursuing, that is a sign that indicates your speed on frontage road by in front of the Forest Service. A lot of people are using that road, coming out there doing the highway speeds, 50. I've catch myself doing it as well, when it's really only supposed to be 30, and there is more bike travel on there, so it'd be nice to slow people down on that and bring awareness to what the speed limit is on that road. It's not marked.
Yeah.
So that's something to bring up.
That would be.
Probably 55. It's unmarked rural road.
It's, when you look at it elsewhere, it's
Oh, I know.
supposed to be
The
30
one that
on that
does.
frontage road. So anyway, that's a short-term fix, and that's what I didn't want to take away from what you're doing on pursuing the pipelines, so I'll leave it at that.
I just wonder if we could get the county sheriff to maybe do some speed patrol. They're usually posted up in downtown, but especially if there's hikers, right there, I know it gets really congested and people are parking on the road. People are getting in and out of their vehicles and people are doing 55 miles an hour. So maybe we can get the sheriff to do some,
Okay,
speed enforcement in that area.
and then maybe added speed signs.
Yeah, I.
Yeah, there are no speed signs from the overpass all the way to where you get on. And if you're only on that section of the highway, you could be under the misconception that it's a rural road and the speed limit's 55. But if you keep going past the overpass, I think you do see some speed signs at that point, but it's unclear. So speed signs would be helpful.
Speed signs sound to be a temporary help at least.
Probably a lot less expensive than a bike lane for now.
Yeah.
And is there a particular, I mentioned the Hood River County Department that we are going to meetings where we might talk about these things? Is it, or would Mr. Dodd, are you interested in maybe going, if there's committee meetings regarding roads at Hood River County? I don't know your jobs or your, just,
Depending on what it is, I'm an active member of the community.
right.
I live in Cascade Locks, but I'm only been here for a year, so that I've been very active in other places I've lived at.
Is that something, Mr. Bennett, that you could look into what department, or is there a committee that talks about the roads in Hood River?
I can talk to the county administrator.
Thank you.
Would it be consensus of council to see if we can't get speed signs posted
On frontage?
on frontage?
On the county road.
But the logistics of that, I'm not sure, I'm sure there's rules and logistics. to
Yeah,
that,
I'm gonna
but
guess unless we pitch in some money, it's probably gonna be a no, but
Can
I
you
can make the
research
ask,
that?
yeah.
research that.
Well, the two speed limit signs that were just installed on Forest Lane were $6,500. That was 2 years ago, right? Not too long before I got here.
The speed one,
The speed limit signs.
it's like, but that tracks your
Yeah.
speed.
Are we talking about those, or are we talking
No,
about?
just a regular
Oh,
speed sign,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that should be.
not $7,000.
Gotcha.
No,
Still not.
be nice, but
Can't
no,
make a
just
homemade one.
some
Yeah,
speed
yeah.
signs, so they posted so people are,
Thank you for clarifying.
all right,
And then I just wanted
sure.
to admit, and I'd say if anybody in the community wanted to talk to the county about this, the Hoover County, they meet once a month, twice a month, weren't they?
Twice, I believe.
Twice a month, and they have an opportunity for public comment as well, so it'd be a good opportunity to maybe provide them direct feedback about this issue. But I think it's almost more of a state issue, the county might feel like it's a problem that they've been handed as well, because the state's the one that put in this bike path that dead ends, at Wyatt and resumes on the west side of Cascade Locks, and now they're stuck in this position too, so, but I think it's good to bring awareness to the issue. They may not be aware of the increase in housing, on the west side of Cascade Locks.
Any other comments? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 7C, leadership training opportunity.
All right, Portland State University is hosting a leadership training for special district governing bodies. It is open to city leaders as well and provides great insight. It is a topic of discussion because it is an expense outside of routine expenses that needs to be approved by council. So it's not, basic reimbursement for traveling like that. This would be an extra expense that based off past conversations should be, okay, this counselor is going to this conference and yes, this amount is approved. The amounts, I got backwards here, the Zoom one on April 20th is $300, the in-person one, April 27th is $360. There's kind of a quick overview of what the, goals and topics of the training are. And then the note that the next training or next conference is the LOC annual meeting in October. So this would be, I guess, kind of the final training and travel expense for the council for this year.
And I don't believe any of the council is attending them in Cape Falls this month. Are they signed up? Okay. So there won't be that expense. So I would imagine there's the mayor's conference down at the same location in Cape Falls. That's why I decided to just go to one time to Cape Falls, not twice. And then in the fall, there's the LOC conference.
So I just want to clarify, you can attend via Zoom on April 20th, and then it's gonna be the same training offered in person on the 27th.
Correct. I'm assuming tailored for the Zoom meeting compared to in person, so yeah.
And it's also not 300 per person, it's 300 for the first person, and then it's less for second, third.
Oh, is it? I didn't
It
see
is.
this. I had this passed on to me from the board. They thought it'd be worth sharing, so.
Yeah, it's just 300 for the first. And then I wanted to say, I have to read the email, I wanted to say 160 or something like that.
Yeah, I can send the link to it to people if they're interested.
So is anyone interested in attending?
I would love to go, I just don't really have the bandwidth to go. I really think it'd be beneficial if somebody went, and then maybe you can come back and share what they learned with us, because I mean, a lot of the things are here. Driving in your lane, working in partnership with your staff, different policy and implementation. These are issues we talk about at council over and over and over again. And I think it'd be good to get some clarification about what our role is on council and make sure we're all on the same page. So I hope somebody is willing to go and participate and share what they learned.
I know for me in person on the 27th wouldn't work, but Zoom on the 20th I could make work. So I had a pretty busy day that day, but.
There's Saturdays.
Or, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Saturday, but I could make it work. But I do encourage council to, if there's opportunities for extra training, anytime you can learn and new skills, the tools in your toolbox, I encourage that. So, but if anybody, but I would be happy to do it on Zoom.
Do we know if the court has folks attending and they would be paying the first 300, then we pay 160, or we don't know?
We're gonna be separate, I believe.
Yeah, it'd be separate
We're
organization.
separate.
And I think they have folks going, but I don't know who or how many.
They say if you're interested in furthering the education on meetings and stuff, go. If you're not able to, or it doesn't interest you, that you don't feel like you get enough out of it, then don't. So, but I know I would like to sign up for it.
Yeah, when someone's.
Yeah.
Okay, any others? Or do you wanna think about it?
Where are we at in the budget with this?
Let me check real quick.
I know we're saving quite a bit since none of us are attending K balls in this month.
Yeah, I would like to try and move, I will be traveling.
You can't do it then, no. I've tried that, it doesn't work. Mm-mm.
I think we're at 4,165.44.
No, actually, we are, let me make sure this is the right one. Yep, we have only spent less than half of what was budgeted. We're at $2,423.
Okay.
Mine's not best.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's money of,
There's plenty of money in the
Okay.
budget for it, yeah.
okay. All right. Anybody else wanna go? Or attend?
I might be interested for the Zoom, but I have to check my calendar.
Okay, you can get back to Jordan on that.
Right.
All right. Okay, we're on to City Administrator Bennett report.
Okay, the 21-22 audits, all documents needed by the auditor will be submitted by April 8th today. The auditors will begin their process the week of April 22nd. We are expecting a 3 to 4 week turnaround for the auditors to complete the review. So we are making progress. The 24-25 budgets. Once the audit items are complete, Carl, our contracted CFO, will shift to reviewing the budget. I will have my draft to him by April 10th. I already have that to him. I did at the end of last week. I'd like to have the department heads do a final review of the budget before it goes out to the committee review and approval. My tentative schedule is to hold an orientation meeting April 24th and provide a copy of the budget message and narrative. I want to give the committee at least 2 weeks to review the budget and come ask me any questions before the meeting to make the meetings as smooth as possible. The first budget meeting review I have scheduled for May 8th, and I will remind the council that there is still one open seat on the budget committee. The McCord Creek Bridge, the loan through the Oregon Transportation Infrastructure Bank is finalized. We will do 2 drawdowns, one at the 50% mark of completion and one at the end of the project. Purchase of the BPA substation. All agreements for the purchase of the BPA substation have been fully executed. City Attorney Cleveland reviewed them and I have signed them. The rest of this is actually inaccurate information. I was told it had to be a wire. The BPA, being the federal government, is too big for its own britches and the departments don't talk to each other. After trying to complete a wire for about 2 hours this morning, we found out that they had an automatic payment scheduled for May 6th. So if we would have completed the wire, we would have double paid for it. So an automatic withdrawal is set for May 6th, which is a Monday. After they receive payment, the BPA will submit the deed to the county for recording, and at that point, we become official owners. So we're still about a month away. Everything but payment is done. It's been a long, arduous process, but we're moving forward. USDA meeting in Kennewick. I've been asked by the USDA to participate in a roundtable in Kennewick on April 18th and talk about how they have helped the city of Cascade Locks fund both water and sewer projects. I plan to go for a 1-day trip to talk and meet with other federal agencies and partners. The downtown project advisory committee. I'm still working on recruiting members for the committee. I'll be doing direct phone calls and visits over the next few weeks. I went out and actually handed out, kind of a breakdown of what the project is and applications to, I think, 9 businesses this afternoon. So, at the moment, we have 3 people who have signed up. We need to get 9 who are priority stakeholders and 3 that are general community members. Reminder that evaluations for, myself are due to the city, attorney by April 12th. That is this Friday. And a reminder that Memorial Day, this is the same day as the second council meeting in May. Council will need to either cancel or reschedule the meeting. I know it doesn't need a decision now, just wanted to make sure everybody remember everybody. I don't remember if it was the last council meeting or the meeting before, asked to provide what we have paid to now CFO, which is our contracted CFO. It's actually been quite a bit. Since for the last year, we have paid them a total of $167,200, $167,213.67. 43,801 of that was on the last fiscal year, and for this current fiscal year, it's $123,412. So they are not they're not a cheap option, but they are doing the work and making progress. And that's all I have.
Okay, mayor and city council comments. Councilmember Crompton?
Thank everybody for coming today. It's always good to see people showing up. And I want to thank staff for everything you do. It's a lot of hard work. I know it's a painful, hard subject, but we do need to move forward on something with this yard debris shenaniganry. We can't just keep talking about it and then not doing anything. There needs to be some sort of resolution. That's all I have.
Councilmember Keller?
I'll be quick. The PTO fundraiser is on April 20th and is a huge support to all students within the school and provides incredible opportunities that hopefully will provide equity with the school, the more affluent schools at Hood River County School District. They provide arts and education, field trips, bring in assemblies, speakers to come talk. They provide support to the teachers and all members of the staff. So promote the students within our community and help out at the PTO fundraiser on April 20th. It's at the Fort Pavilion. And I echo Mr. Compton's thoughts that we have to figure out this yard debris stuff.
I'll be brief. Also, thank you to the planning commission for your thoughtful deliberations on the best way to write the code and the planner who came. Thank you, Mr. Dodd, for your passion about the bike paths and the safety. You don't want to wait. And it takes one passionate citizen to help not let us forget, not let the county forget, and maybe move forward. So I thank you and all the passionate citizens that are stepping up to help look for things that need to be changed, maybe even help with finding funding. And so thank you for that. And thank you, Mr. Bennett, for applying for another grant that hopefully we'll get. I just want to say yay. I went to the PTO fundraiser last year. It was very fun. We brought out-of-state people, so it was like a tourism event as well. It was pretty great. And I look forward to learning more at MCEDD and seeing how they can help. Thanks to you for joining the museum committee, and Butch, thank you for having served in so many committees. You've done a lot for the city of Cascade Locks, and we're all sending energy that you heal well, and thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Farrell?
Thank you everyone for your input today. And thank you to Sheldon and the team for picking up my big amount of twigs today. Actually, I ran out to him today to let him know that it wasn't all mine, that a neighbor down the street had theirs. I said, this isn't all mine. And, he says, oh, this is nothing. And now I see what he was talking about. So my pile was nearly that big. Anyway, speaking of bike lanes, I'm sure people have noticed that we're now getting people parking their vehicles by East Wind, blocking the bike lanes, parked in them while they're waiting for their food orders. I don't know how we're gonna get this fixed, but someone's gonna get hurt. Especially with more and more people using our bike lanes. I have to actually go across the line into, one set of tires into oncoming traffic to avoid those people that are parked because they're coming totally into the bike lanes. So we need to think about that. That's, however we're gonna do it, I don't know, but, I also noticed that the old firehouse store is crooked and not shutting, but I don't know who owns that. They probably already know about it, but I have a hunch they're gonna get skunks or raccoons or something in there if they don't fix it. And I sent everyone a photo of at the post office, what is that called? The trail monument that's there, and it's getting really corroded down at the bottom. So, in our plan, that needs to be addressed. Maybe put like a little metal strip around the bottom, some type of reinforcement, because that thing's not gonna last another winter, I don't think. I also noticed that there were people unloading stuff behind Cascade End, the fenced area there. I mean, it looked like a whole bunch of little microwave ovens. They were sealed up, they were brand new. Do we know if something's happening with Cascade Inn?
I do not know.
Okay.
They're getting new microwaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just thought it was
They
kind of.
have the dumpster back there as well, so I don't know if they're.
These were
remodeling.
new. I could definitely tell walking by the way that they were painted.
We'll
Yeah,
see what I can think of.
yeah, which is kind of fun. And I think that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Miller?
Like, thanks staff for providing us with all this wonderful paper for us to read. They do a good job on it. It's easy for us to follow. I got a report from a citizen about Rudolph Creek and somebody evidently dumping raw sewage into it. So is there a way we can get that creek tested?
Find out. Which one's Rudolph Creek? I'm not.
Rudolph Creek runs, right alongside of, Brigham's Fish Market.
Oh.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Was it a camper?
No, it's coming off some property above,
Okay,
so if we get the water tested, that would,
okay.
lead to maybe us being able to force some people to clean up.
Yeah, I don't know how effective the test would be, but I'll talk to the public works crew.
And I heard that, John Logan's looking for $6,000 for a ski boat or whatever.
Oh, no. No,
Not,
the port had offered $6,000 to buy one, but a ski-doo costs like 70 grand plus maintenance and where to park it and need a trailer and
oh, okay,
he turned it down.
okay.
Yeah, he bought new, life vests and other equipment for his staff to use if they needed to do a water rescue.
All right.
Yep.
All right. That's it then.
Councilmember Happy?
I just wanted to echo Councilmember Baker's comments and thank Councilor Miller for his service with MCEDD as well as your years of service on the museum board, and appreciate Councilmember Baker for stepping up to fill those seats. I think it's great that we have an active voice in the county, the MCEDD, and appreciate everybody's participation with that. And thank you for going to the training on the 20th, is that right?
20th.
So thank you for doing that. I'm excited to hear.
Day of the fundraiser.
And then I just want to say for the record, we did get our crime stats for,
Yes.
looks like that's for the month, this is month 2024. You guys, this is March.
Yeah.
from the dates on there. And when do you typically do your analysis on that?
I had done it usually the second meeting, so after we got this.
So next meeting we'll see.
Yep.
It doesn't seem like there's a lot on there, so I'm really kind of curious. to
No,
see.
which I noticed that too. They used to be like a pretty long list, so I don't know if that's
A
their
good thing
a
or?
good thing or they're just not doing their job, so, yeah. I
Uh,
don't know.
But that's all I got. And I guess, the burn pile thing, I'm glad that we're still talking about it, but we need to take some action on it. And I'm sorry I couldn't be here for the workshop, so. Please to hear what I missed out on.
All right. First of all, thank you to the city and staff, and you guys keep us on track. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who spoke, came and listened. We really do appreciate all the input and participation in that. Yes, the PTO fundraiser is the 20th. Encourage everybody to go out. Attended last year. It was a lot of fun. It's a casino night, and for those of you who haven't donated, there's still time. I know Janice has been gathering up all those. Thank you to Mr. Morgan, John Morgan, for coming and clarifying some questions. Also, thank you to Councilmember Miller for all your hard work on serving on boards, and I'm hoping that you get a speedy recovery here soon. And then thank you also to, Councilmember Crompton stepping up, being on the museum board, and Councilmember Baker stepping up also to be on the CAT board. I'm glad we're not getting our foot out of the door with that board. Really appreciate it. I agree about the burn pile. We've got to come up with, like, this is what we're doing and put it to bed. And then also the cost of now CFO has been weighing heavily on me, for the amount we needed it. We're behind the 8 ball, but I really would like council to, we can't sustain this amount of money. For that amount of money, we could have a full-time employee. And so it's something that I think we need to think about. There's gotta be, I know we're doing the audits and everything, but there's gotta be an end in sight when we say, okay, we're gonna just pay someone really well and have an employee here that can do it all the time. So, but that's something, a discussion, not for this moment, but I do wanna, have that on everyone's mind. Other than the burn pile, the 160,000 that we're spending on MCFO is substantial. So, and add that, and thank you to Councilmember Happy for stepping in and running the last meeting for me. I actually had a vacation, which I hadn't in about a year and a half, so it was much needed. And then just thank you to council, and I always appreciate good thoughtful discussion and go through. That's it. Is there a motion to end the meeting?
A motion to adjourn.
I second.
Okay, any discussion? No discussion, can we go to a roll call vote?
Councilmember Crompton.
Aye.
Emily Baker. Aye. Farrell.
Aye.
Happy.
Aye.
Keller.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Mayor Bell.
It passes, it closes, thank you.